Coming into the grand finals of the World Championship, both Team Vitality and Team BDS looked pretty much unbeatable. Then the match started and I am not quite sure where Team BDS went. Wherever it was though, it was not on the field. But the real question is, what exactly went wrong that made them play so poorly? Today we answer that question as we deep dive into the final match of the RLCS 22-23 season. So here we are in Game 4 of the Grand Finals. Of course, Team Vitality at this point is up 3-0, and this is going to start off pretty bad pretty fast as Rise dives in here, Seiko gets beat on the sidewall, and then Monkey Moon gets bumped out of net. We're going to see a couple of things occur pretty consistently in the goals that BDS is going to concede. And the main thing we want to understand is that BDS is going to attempt to play too quickly, and they're also going to attempt to oftentimes do too much. This first goal here is largely going to be due to trying to play too fast. So the first thing we'll see here is Monkey Moon's going to jump up and get this block on Redosin. That is going to be fantastic. It's going to send the ball over in this direction, which Rise thinks, alright, cool, this is my ball to jump up for. The only person I really need to be concerned about in this situation is Alpha, which is very correct. The problem is that Rise makes a pretty simple mistake here in that he jumps up before angling his car to where he actually wants to go. So then he's actually chasing the ball through the air rather than jumping up to meet it, which means he's going to get to the ball slower than someone who attacks the area where the ball is going to be. So as we'll see here, Rise jumps up. He's not in line with the ball, so he has to chase after it. Looks like he figured out he wasn't going to hit the ball and tried to go for a bump on Alpha. Almost gets enough of him to get him off the ball, but Alpha is going to push that ball on through. So now we pop over to Seiko, and again we're going to see an idea of someone playing too quickly. So in this situation here, Seiko has a couple of split seconds of time with this ball. Alpha still has not landed as of yet, so it's going to take him a second to get down and then move forward for this challenge. So Seiko's job here is to try to take as much control of this ball as he can to try to be able to control it back out of his half. He really doesn't want to find himself in a position where he's giving the ball away for free or where he's ending up in a bad 50-50 with Alpha here in the corner. So ideally what he'd like to do is he'd like to be able to take this ball under control, up the wall, and out he goes. The problem is this ball is going to get to the wall before he can, so it's going to bounce back towards the midfield. Now what Seiko could do is just initially let this ball bounce and then try to pick it up of control from there, but the problem is that he might have Alpha hot on his case by that point. So what Seiko is going to try to do is he's going to try to get a touch as the ball bounces off the wall right around here to send it back into the wall and maybe attempt to follow it up. The problem is because he kind of rushes this touch, he can't actually get back to the ball fast enough. So you see he slows down here and waits for the ball to bounce off, but now as he's getting this touch, all this is doing is pushing the ball back out towards the side wall, which is where Zen is waiting. Because if we go back just a couple of split seconds here, we see the challenge with Rise. Now we can see Zen right there full boosting up the side of the field, so any ball that gets pushed out back along this side wall is going to be gained possession of by Zen. So the ball gets popped out, and now of course Zen is right here. So Seiko is going to do his absolute best to try to get back out to this ball. Almost gets there, but Zen does a very nice job of cutting the ball around the last defender instead of just hitting it directly into him. So now Seiko's out of the play, Rise is out of the play, so all we have left now is Monkey Moon in net, except for the fact that he's getting bumped out by Alpha. If we pan over to Monkey's perspective for a second, he's going to be waiting here on the back line as Seiko goes for this challenge. Again, he's expecting Seiko to gain some control of this ball and at least be able to force a 50-50, but because Seiko kind of rushes his touch a little bit and doesn't gain control of the ball, Monkey Moon now finds himself really close to the play, under the pressure of Alpha, and he has to try to somehow get away from him. In my opinion, in this situation, Monkey Moon could have just stayed on the ground, jumped over the top of Alpha or tried to avoid him, and then defend the shot from Zen. The problem with driving up the wall like this is you telegraph to your opponent exactly where you're going, so Alpha can easily follow up after you. You're not going that fast, and you're very easy to bump off because he knows where you have to go, because you have to go defend the shot. So if you just stay on the ground, you can be a little bit less predictable. You can hit the brakes, you can move around, you can jump, you can do a whole lot of things. But the second you take yourself up onto this wall, well, now Alpha knows exactly where to go to bump you off the play. And as we'll see here, Monkey Moon goes up the wall, preparing to defend the shot. Alpha bumps him off, then gets quite a lucky touch not to clear the ball, and Zen is able to finish it. So all in all, that entire play really comes down to just Rise attempting to play the ball too quickly, Seiko playing the ball too quickly, and then Monkey Moon being stuck on the back line without any extra help behind him. One of the things that I wished BDS had done more of is just let Vitality hit the ball. Vitality was playing so fast that oftentimes BDS were trying to compensate by speeding up their own gameplay, and in doing so, it led to less control on their end. If you find yourself in a situation where your opponents are just constantly trying to outspeed you to the ball, it normally means that they're not putting the ball in the most dangerous places, or simply their touches just aren't that threatening on their own. So oftentimes you can just let your opponent take the touch they want to take, then cut off the ball wherever it goes to. If you try to jump up and challenge someone who's trying to just outpace you, you're oftentimes going to just get player after player taken out of the play, and it's eventually going to lead to an open net, as it does here. And now moving on to goal number 2 here, we'll see that the ball is tracking backwards and Seiko's going to go up the wall. And see, this is what I mean, right? This is exactly what I was talking about before, and Seiko does a really nice job of it here. Zen's touch here isn't going to be threatening. There's nothing really that can happen outside of the most godly touch on the face of the planet that is going to put this ball in a dangerous position from here. So Seiko just calmly says, yep, Zen, have your touch. I really don't care. I'll just wait till you're done, and then I will do what I want to do with the ball. And that's what we needed to see more of from BDS and simply didn't. So Seiko does a great job there, able to get a hold of the ball, and now he's going to control the ball out. And here is where we're going to see that second idea that I mentioned earlier of a player attempting to do too much. Because Seiko has this ball here, he has it totally under control, and if we look down to the ground right now, we have 2 Vitality players kind of just watching to see what happens here. So in this situation, even if you manage to take the ball past one of them, unless you're able to stay completely in control of it, the second player is just going to take over and gain possession of it. So let's see what Seiko does in this situation. He comes down, gets a flip reset, but as you can see, it's just kind of into the middle of nowhere. Monkey Moon is able to pressure the ball, but Team Vitality really isn't under any pressure by that play. What I would have preferred to see from Seiko here is he's coming out. We need to try to make the game more unpredictable. The more predictable the game is for Vitality, the less chance we have of being successful. So in a situation like this, you're low boost, you really don't have much of an option. I don't necessarily like the flip reset here, just because you're not in a position to really make a play with it. You're pretty much just dropping the ball into the middle of nowhere. So to be a little less predictable, what I would like to see here is just Seiko float down with this ball and try to get a 50-50 at the end of it with Redosin. Position his car to get the 50-50 and try to get the ball to pinch out into a place that is favorable for your team, but also unexpected from your opponents. In doing so, you don't give them the upper hand in the play immediately, and you are more in control of the situation. The second you commit to flip resetting and then getting rid of the ball, you have taken the control of the play out of your own hands. So just trying to do a little too much here, trying to be a little unnecessarily fancy. We don't need to end every air dribble with a flip reset. Not necessary. So the ball drops into the middle of nowhere. Redosin's just sitting here waiting. And now again, here's where we're going to see someone trying to go too fast. So as Monkey Moon sees this air dribble coming out from Seiko, okay, he's going to see that Redosin has a chance to turn on this, and he is going to jump right away to try to get a block. The problem is Redosin can see what you're doing there, Monkey Moon. So he's just gonna kind of chill and let you go right on by. In this situation, we would love to actually force Redosin to do something, because Seiko's already out of the play with that flip reset. If we dive and we miss, then we're also out of the play, and now all of Vitality is able to come downfield against our last defender back. So we want to basically force Redosin to do something without completely eliminating ourselves from the play. If we manage to get a touch on the ball, fantastic, but if not, it's not the end of the world. So in this case, I would love to see Monkey Moon keep all 4 wheels on the ground and just drive at Redosin. Because if Monkey Moon just drives here, and Redosin actually sits still like this, Monkey Moon, once he's closer, can jump up to get the challenge. But if he drives forward and Redosin then does eventually pop the ball over him, Monkey Moon can either jump up and maybe still get a challenge, or he can keep his wheels on the ground and just go for a bump on Redosin, which would result in a ball floating through the air that Rise coming from behind us would then be able to challenge. But by jumping so quickly and just assuming we gotta go full speed, go full pace, or else things are gonna go horribly wrong, they haven't had to do anything. They're just like, cool, that's great, you have a grand old time, we'll wait for you to be done, and then we'll take our play. So Vitality had basically conditioned Team BDS to feel like they need to play as fast as possible to have any success in this series. And then as soon as they got to that point, Vitality said, alright, we'll throw a couple curveballs in here, take some plays nice and slow, and it completely throws off the defense of BDS, such in a situation like this, where Monkey Moon just goes absolutely sailing by the ball. So now, poor Rise is left on the back line with all 3 members of Team Vitality coming at him, and now I understand the mentality that he has here, right? Because we see Zen go up for an air dribble. You know what? We don't want to give him that space. We're going to go up to challenge it right away. And that, you know, is a great idea if you have players behind you. In a situation where Zen has full control of the ball and you are the last man back, jumping up early is more than likely just going to result in Zen getting the ball past you in some way or another. And in a situation like we have here, if Zen gets the ball past you, it is now just an open net because both the other players from Vitality are going to beat both of your teammates back to your net. So Rise jumps up here, and we do have an absolutely gorgeous play from Zen. Pinches off the ceiling and then scores the goal just like that. But in Rise's position, I know he's afraid of being bumped by Redosin. Totally understandable, you're in a horrible spot here. You gotta try to buy as much time as possible though in this situation, and I don't think diving at Zen when he has full control of the ball is the right play. Just take your time, read how the play is coming at you. Redosin's gonna come try to bump you. You can try to avoid him, try to go for the save, do what you can, but I don't think you should be giving Zen the upper hand in this play so early. By jumping so early, Zen knows exactly what he has to do to get the ball past you. Okay, just carry it up, over the top, we're good to go. If you stay on the ground, Vitality has to think just a bit longer about how they're going to outplay you, and it could buy just enough time for Seiko and Monkey Moon to get back to support you. But if you dive this fast, there's nothing you're going to be able to do to win in that situation. So all in all, as we kind of keep playing this forward, obviously this game ends 2-0. This was all the scoring that would be seen in the RLCS 22-23 season. And it really felt like in this finals, BDS came out and knew that they had a massive uphill battle ahead of them. They knew that if they managed to win this, it was going to be absolutely insane. And I think they knew that the speed from Vitality was going to be absolutely insane. As we see there, another almost crazy shot from the ceiling from Alpha. But I think understanding that speed of Vitality really got into the heads of BDS. They started to try to do too much. They started to trip over each other in comms. You look at some of the other games in series, and the double commits that happened across this team were absolutely crazy. And it's stuff that we didn't see any of in their semifinal against Team Liquid. Against Team Liquid, BDS looked confident, they looked composed, they looked organized, and they came out in the match against Vitality and looked anything but. And that was pretty much the downfall of Team BDS. As soon as they came out in Game 1, and they looked flat, unorganized, not playing with each other, kind of going for more hero, I'm going to go as fast as possible to try to outpace this team, it all fell apart. You never want to really try to be beating your opponents at their own game. Especially a team like Vitality, who literally hasn't been beaten at their own game pretty much ever. You got the upper hand on them one time at the Spring Major, and that's all the advantage you've ever had over them. So knowing that, coming into this series, I think BDS needed to do a better job of game planning how they were going to actually take down Vitality. It seemed that their strategy was just, let's come out and let's try to play at the pace they want to play at and see what we can get done. And unfortunately, they could not get enough done at the end of everything. So that will wrap it up for the 22-23 RLCS season. Of course, both of these teams had absolutely fantastic runs. Of course, if you guys do enjoy videos like this, make sure you click that subscribe button right down below this video so you make sure you don't miss any future Rocket League content. Additionally, if you'd like to be more involved in this community, please consider joining my Discord, link down in the description below. So thank you everybody so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. See you later, guys.